meaningful and difficult. Lisa has a bachelor's of science degree in child development and family studies from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and resides right here in South Pasadena. She's been married to her husband Bruno for 37 years, who she met while living in France. And of course, she adores showing up for her grown daughter and son who live close by and who are right here this morning. So would you please join me in welcoming Lisa Cavelier. Nancy, I'm not going to hug you because I'm going to start to cry. It's very interesting coming back. I've had a very busy 7 years at the Boys and Girls Club, and haven't spent a lot of time in Pasadena, things like this, so this is really special for me. And thank you all for being here, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I was sharing with a couple folks the last couple days that speaking at, let's just say, this age is very different than speaking 30 years ago at that age, where you have a little note card and off you go. And so I have never done this before, but I have a notebook that has everything I could ever need to say to you today in it. Nancy, thank you, and thank you all for this recognition to be able to be here and share. And yes, I have my husband Bruno and Chloe and Bruno Paul right here. I also have brought members of my Boys and Girls Club of Pasadena leadership team, one over there who's making sure that all the AV happens right, and 3 more over here who I just adore. They're really my crew. It's been 10 or 11 years since I think I helped start this event in South Pasadena. I think I was on that original, yeah? And I had no idea I'd ever be up here speaking. When I see those slides, I think, whoa. I said I did reach out to Lucy Jones and to Mike Downey to see if they had any interesting slides I could share. I'm just kidding. Some earthquake slides and things, but I'm not sure this is going to do us here. There we are. And I don't have an amazing book like Father Boyle, but I'm just a wife, a mom, a community member, a volunteer who's just here to show up. And I'm just here to talk a little bit about that today. I hope today to give you something meaningful to take away to your homes, your offices, your workplaces, your community, your neighborhoods. And prepping for this for the last couple of months, I've really done a lot of reflecting and work processing what it has meant to me to have people show up for me, and what it means for me showing up for others. Michelle, please look the other way. Almost 20 years ago, I learned firsthand what showing up in this community can mean. It was a tragic and terrifying time for my family and me, and I have many scenes seared in my memory of people showing up. Like one friend learning, I was driving up and down Fair Oaks in a fog looking for dinner, started a family dinner drive, and I had every Monday night on my front porch dinner for a couple of nights. That's kind of all I could take for each night on Monday that would keep us through the week. And that went on for a very long time. Another friend showed up on my doorstep paying forward money she had generously received from someone who had given it to her many years ago when she was doing her college applications. And yet another dear friend snuck over, and when we were gone one time, snuck over and put up Christmas lights on our home. So I'll note that all of that's a really long story. That's for another time. But what I bring here today is gratitude that we have for so many of members of this special community showing up for us at a really important time of need. The list is long, and I felt over some years that we'll never be able to repay people who did so much for us. But is repaying someone for showing up necessary, or is it showing up not only about the recipient, but also about the giver and the blessing that it can give the giver with no expectation of repayment? That was a lesson I needed to learn. Okay, Lisa, slow down a bit. I wanted to first dive into some basics of showing up. Okay, so my team and I at BGCP work each day with kids. You can imagine lots of kids. We've got 6 sites now operating, and it is just crazy fun. But where better to get some good information than from kids? So I sent one of my team members out, and he chatted with some kids. So we're going to first show you these. Now I will say, we didn't frame the question well, so we're going to call this very short first segment, gently call it a blooper reel, okay? So go ahead, Daniel.
It means to not be absent. Like you'll show up, like you'll be there. It means to like go someplace and be at that place. To like go to a place and like show up there.
To show up and be there for other people.
I think it means that you should be here on time, take responsibility to show up if you signed up.
To meet up with people or present yourself in a good way.
Like you're invited to a party and people say, where is he? So then you appear and then you show up.
So tell me, what does it mean for you when somebody is showing up for you?
I have a party and I want you to show up.
So Gabriel's our party guy. He's 7 and he is just the cutest kid ever. And so he's sharing his thoughts there. And there's nothing inherently wrong with their responses, but it's not what I was shooting for. So let's roll the reshoot reel, please.
It means to not be absent.
Other one.
Like you'll show up.
There we go.
What does it mean to you when somebody shows up for you?
My grandpa and grandma show up for me and my friends. And it makes me feel very happy and very, very grateful.
What it means is like you're there for me, and like if it like I'm having a rough time with something, you're there for me, or you're just in my life and like you care for me. That's what I think it means.
When I need something, they're there to support me. Like they're showing up there for the support and showing up. Like I feel happy, joyful. I feel like so happy that they're showing up for me. And I feel excited. And I know now that they will always show up to me and come to my events. And I know that I'm welcome to Axton. And I just feel heartwarmed on the inside. And I remember one time when my mom asked her to take me to my performance, and she listened. And I felt very heartwarmed, excited, and joyful and happy to know that she came to my performance.
For me, it would have to be I would feel grateful and happy because they're showing up for me a lot and it shows that they really care about me. When my grandparents show up for me, it makes me feel very grateful and very cared about.
Like, I have a friend, and then she's really nice. And sometimes she always like show up to me, and then she's always like nice, and then we've been friends like a long time. So I would say that would be grateful because like we have friends, right?
I feel like it means a lot when someone shows up to me. It feels like what I do doesn't go unnoticed by other people. And yeah, I just think it means a lot to feel supported.
It makes me feel good, and also it makes me feel like people actually appreciate helping me, and it makes me feel very special.
What it means to me is when people are like going out of their way to show up for me, and also even if it's just out of like their kindness of their heart and like I don't even know and they just want to be there for me. And it makes me feel very loved and cared for, and I feel like important and appreciated.
So that's better. Can you hear not only their voices, but also their hearts? We didn't tell them, talk about feelings, but did you hear the feelings that they shared and what that really meant to them and inside their bodies? Can you remember times when someone showed up for you? Take a moment to think about one time, one thing, and I realize this could be triggering for people who maybe didn't have that experience as often as one would hope. But I just wanted to have you think about one time. How did it make you feel? Being honest and very self-sufficient, I can remember feeling beholden, honestly, that I needed to pay it back. As a new mom, it took me a minute to realize that getting in the swing of thing of not helping others, but also not only helping others, but allowing others to help me. I still remember one mom in town, and she's in the room today, said the game-changing words to me, "Lisa, no one is keeping score." Totally let me off the hook of feeling obliged to reciprocate. And I'm sure there are many others in the room who also loved the sort of help and get help dance that we all did over many, many years. So we're thinking about our feelings. Good. Thank you, right? Chloe, my therapist daughter. That's all powerful, but that's not all. What do researchers have to say about showing up? From a variety of sources, we can find that people typically feel deeply validated, valued, and secure. They get a true sense of feeling seen, like Audrey was saying, and supported when someone shows up for them. Research shows that this brings intense feelings of social connection, reduces anxiety, boosts self-esteem, and can lead to increased happiness and even improved physical health. Wow. Psychology Today says that whether it's tangible, emotional, or simply being there, the act of showing up fulfills a fundamental need, human need, for connection and belonging. I bolded that statement. A fundamental human need for connection and belonging. Well, that sense of belonging is something that we talk about almost every day at Boys and Girls Club of Pasadena. There are a lot more benefits. I'm going to buzz through these because as I was reading it over last night, it felt long. Feeling seen and valued, meaning that somebody else understands who you are and accepts you for that. Emotional safety and security, validation and affirmation. It affirms that you're worthy of somebody's time and attention. It enhances your self-worth. Mitigation of stress, the feeling of being supported, reduces anxiety, and in some cases, symptoms of post-traumatic stress. There are even physiological responses when you show up for someone or someone shows up for you. It can release endorphins and improving mood and reducing stress, as I've said. And the final is about health outcomes, immune systems boosted, faster recovery from illness, and increased longevity. Here's the page I put out. And it combats isolation. It directly fights social isolation, which is known to have negative impacts on mental health. That's a huge piece of why we're here today. That's a huge piece of why we started this breakfast. We talked for, I don't even know how many months we were in planning at the beginning, and saying it's one more way to bring us together in a meaningful way and to focus on what's going on in our community, in our neighbors, in our neighborhoods, neighbor by neighbor. The topics presented over the years have reinforced that, and I'll get to more of that in a minute. I'd like to take a little turn in the road and share for just a few minutes about Boys and Girls Club of Pasadena's response to the Eaton fire. That was the whole last year and into this year. It was a rough year. We have over 110 families who lost everything. We have several hundred more who lost their, who have been bouncing around, and many, believe it or not, who are still bouncing around. Some of you personally may have been affected by the fire, and I'm so sorry for that. We got the notification to evacuate at one point and realized later it was the All Valley County had gotten that. So it wasn't about South Pass, but we all know people. The list is long of all the people that we know. And but we know people that still sadly today are bouncing around. We closed the club for just one day in January, then reopened and invited the entire community to come. We had one building that was untouched by fire or smoke, and we let them all in, and the walls quaked. We had about, I think we had almost, if not 400 kids, and we had it open for 3 weeks while the schools were closed. So it was quite a moment. One of the first children I saw in the building when I went in the first day, early, 7:30-ish, was a little guy I'll call John. I saw him across the room at our education center, and I went over to him, and he was kind of alone. There were just a few kids arriving, and I said, "Hey, how are you doing today?" And he looked me right straight in the face. This guy's about, oh gosh, I think he's 8 or 9. And he says, "My house burned down." We're talking about 24 hours ago. It was just then. And I looked at him and I said, I put my arm on his shoulder and I said, "We're here for you and we will get through this together." And I knew then and there that the club would do just that. I also knew that we were in for a seriously challenging time beyond what we ever could have imagined. As more and more reports came in about our families, our board, our staff members, we jumped into action. One story of many that moved us all was a single dad and young daughter who lost their apartment, his work truck, all of his work tools, and all of his clients that he had been working in their yards. All destroyed. We helped him care for his daughter, as well as Home Depot cards for tools and resources around housing. I was moved by so many stories. It was endless. But another mom who was new to us came and knew that we'd opened up to the community and said, "I want to leave my kids here for the next few hours because I don't want them in the car when we go see if our house is still there." And I said, "Okay, we got them. And she came back, and of course their house was not still there, and they had a lot to deal with. the incredible losses and needs of our families. Here are just some of the ways that our team showed up for them. Excuse me. We started immediately a family assistance fund and ultimately raised and gave out, not keeping any of it for ourselves, $500,000 that went directly into the pockets of our families. We're talking about having events where we were handing folks quietly in the back room a $10,000 check, a $5,000 check, meaningful donations that could help them get their feet back on the ground or just have some semblance of normal, if I could call it that. Oh, and Daniel's running just some fun faces from kids at the club. There's our partier. We kept our doors open for those 3 weeks, like I've mentioned, with so many kids in the building. It was just really crazy. And some people were asking me out in town, oh, are the kids all moping around? And I said, no, they're really not. They're just being kids. And we are here to keep a routine going for them and to do kids things even while their parents were off dealing with enormous and painful adult things. We quickly increased all of our mental health supports. We brought in various people who could just be there for kids, be it one-on-one, just listening, trying to just help kids make sense of what had happened in their town and perhaps in their home as well. We were just trying to be there for kids. We took in roomfuls of donations of essential items for anyone who needed them. We opened our doors to our partner Odyssey Charter School, who lost one of their campuses where we had an after-school program. And yeah, when I told my team this, I don't think they believed me, but I said, we're taking them in now. And they moved in beginning of February, 250 kids and 40 administrators to our main building on Del Mar. And I told the team from the start, I said, this is going to be hard. And I said it in much more challenging words than that. And we are going to be kind and welcoming and hospitable, and they are going to be loved while they are here. And it was so hard sometimes, and it didn't matter. We did it, and we were tolerant and friendly no matter what. It's what you do for community. You don't say, well, that's gonna be really hard. We really want all those kids running around, all that stuff. You know, because I'm talking about 7:30 in the morning until about 2, they would then all leave our building. Well, our vans were going out to pick up our kids to come in for the after-school program. So, like, there was never a quiet moment in that building for months. And I did tell the executive director that while we loved having them there, I also felt great the day that those 2 big old trucks left with all their stuff. You know, we're friends. We did a Take Care of Yourself Day where we offered massages to parents and bounce houses for kids and great food. We even had an amazing celebrity show up for us and our kids. This was a highlight by far, Magic Johnson. He had heard about the ink fire being in our footprint. Okay, hold that one. He brought so much to us that day, not only in inspiration and food and carnival activities for our kids, but also sharing with a small group of families who had lost their homes. This man sat in a private room with these folks and hugged and laughed and cried and gave his personal phone number and gave money, gave checks to these folks, like, you know, just writing checks. It was incredible to watch. I'll never forget April 9th, 2025, and how magic touched so many lives that day. I brought a picture to share because it's so funny to me. We were walking out and I handed him a little blue wooden door ornament that we give out to special, like, oh, thanks for visiting the club. And, just a second. And I have to tell you that we give it to people, we always say, and I was telling him this as we're walking, when we give people this, we always say, when kids come through those blue doors, that's when the magic happens. And just like you, he busted up. And apparently I did too. And it's just a funny picture to me. I was in the moment, and there's Stephanie who's here with us today too. She's busting up. It was just the sweetest moment. And he is just I kept saying afterwards, he is the real deal. He is the real deal. What he brought to us was so incredible. So find another picture, Daniel. Thank you. So all of this at the club was very intentional and gave us the opportunity to show us how powerful showing up actually can be in our community, and especially for our kids and our families. Speaking of intentional, I want to say I'm not intentionally leaving God and prayer for last here. And I heard this the other day. Hashtag, I'm not a preacher. Isn't that fun? Anyway, just heard that. I thought I'd try it out. One of my most favorite hymns is Great is Thy Faithfulness. I've kept this, I brought a prop. I've kept this on my desk at home for, I don't know, how many years, guys? Maybe 25 years. And I found out that the hymn was written in 1923 by a pastor, he was once pastor, Thomas Chisholm, who hit some seriously rough times in his life. He was a poet, and the lyrics are adapted from the Bible from Lamentations 3:23. It's really a declaration of God's unchanging reliability and his constant presence in our lives. The term faithfulness, I have to be honest, there were times when I was thinking it was talking about our faithfulness to him, but then it's thy faithfulness, right? It's kind of both, but it's really about his faithfulness to us. It refers to his steadfastness, his unwavering commitment to his promises, and his consistent character. To me, this means that God is dependable and trustworthy regardless of our circumstances. I know I felt that many, many times in my life, and I'm hoping that you have too. If you have kids, you know how intentional we parents are about wanting to be there for our kids, and sometimes we miss the mark. We're human. I know I miss the mark with my kids, ironically, sometimes because of my intense involvement within this community. Still working on that one. But I believe God is always intentional with us, showing up 100% of the time. If we are receptive and listening, we will know and we will feel that care. Prayer also provides or builds connections to one another in the community. I was involved in a mom's prayer group for many years that met while my kids were little, and I was thinking today, it actually kind of still meets in that there's a text group. You know, the text groups can be super annoying. This one's really not. And every once in a while, people pop in and say a little something, something, something. And the support and the invitation to praying for moms was powerful, even when some of us were struggling and words just wouldn't come. I always knew others were praying for me and my family. As we gather today, may we carry that assurance of God's steadfast love, however you experience him, into our homes, our workplaces, and community, remembering that his faithfulness truly never fails. If you leave with anything today, I hope it's knowing that each of you has the ability to powerfully show up for others. No special skills required, just heart. Okay, thinking about a takeaway. I have to have a takeaway. So on your tables are sticky notes. Would everybody grab one quickly and put it in front of you? Somebody pass them out to your table. And on that sticky note, I want you to write down the names of three people, just what comes right off the top of your head, that you will reach out to and show up for somehow in the next 30 days. When you get home, stick the sticky note somewhere at your office or your home, someplace where you'll remember it. And here comes the tricky part. Then actually do it. I have sticky notes everywhere. My office is full of sticky notes. And I don't always do them at the moment, but I do go back through and go, and do them. So I'm asking you to make that small commitment today. It might be a phone call, it might be a lunch, it might be a text thinking about you. Those are powerful ways that you can tell others that you care. If in this room we have about 150 people, imagine that over the next 30 days, more than 450 people are going to be blessed by someone checking in with them in some small or big way. So there's your homework. That's powerful. And that's connection, that's showing up. Before I say my final 2 sentences, I'm going to say that somebody reminded me, and I had just thought of it myself this morning. I guess I was known in town at some point in time for saying, if not now, when? I'm guessing that I said it probably all the time at PTA meetings and committee meetings and all. So I'm going to say it now, if not now, when? I said it back then in the context of, in the blink of an eye, your kids are going to be in college. So if somebody would say to me, oh, I really want to chair that committee, maybe in the next couple of years. I'd say, if not now, when? And I was unfortunately sometimes that direct. And so I'm saying to you now, if not now, when? Now is the moment. Now is the moment to show up. Now is the moment to think of those folks that you've put on your little sticky note. So thanks for inviting me here today to share some thoughts. And thank you all so much for the countless blessings you've given my family and me over the years.
At this time, I'm going to be inviting the very